So yeah, welcome to my talk about M1 in CI/CD specifically for Flutter developers. I will show you some benchmarks and also some thoughts about it when you shoot M1 in CI/CD, and I'll show you also one cool tool. So if the talk is boring for you, just keep here because I will show it at the end. And yeah, so I'm Nils from Germany. I started my study 2 weeks ago. So I should be in a lecture right now, but I'm here to show you my insights about M1 and CI/CD. And 4 years ago, I co-founded ShareZone. It's a school plan app to organize your school day because I had the problem to organize my homeworks in school because I'm very lazy and this was very annoying. So I wrote every day on WhatsApp in our class group, so what homework should we do? And no one replied to me. So we had the idea to just make a collaborative school planner. So one person is adding the homework and everyone else has his homework. So we built this with Flutter from day one. And so now we are on Android, iOS, web, and macOS. And we are even 2 students. So it was a really nice experience. And for this, we used a MacBook to do this. And back then, it was an Intel MacBook. And some 2 years ago, Apple released the M1, and it's really fun to build the apps and with M1. And I would like to know who of you is using an M1 or M2 MacBook. Just raise your hand. A lot of guys. So this is very cool. So when you're building apps, you code the app, and you may also have some CI/CD process. So you want to ensure that the code quality is high, all your tests are passing, you are publishing your app to the app and Play Store, and all this. What this is some kind of code continuous integration or continuous delivery. And when you do this, you're doing this on machines. And since a few months, there are some CI/CD providers that are providing for use M1 machines, and we want to look what you need to do to run this on M1. First of all, maybe you need to migrate your project to M1. This should be really easy because Apple released their M1 2years ago. So since then, a lot of things happened, and you should have no problems to migrate. However, if you have some problems, there are a ton of articles in the internet that can help you to guide through this process. And I have also a tip for you that you go to GitHub and search for issues, for example, also for issues with this label platform host ARM, because Flutter is posting all these issues or labeling all these issues with ARM architecture with this label. So you might going to find your solution there. And if you using M1 in CI/CD, you might going to have some issues with Golden Test. And I would like to know who's using Golden Test in his project. Just raise your hand. Okay, not that much anymore. I can really recommend you to use Golden Test because they are really awesome to test your UI. So basically, you get some kind of image, and you're comparing this image with the original image, and you look, okay, if there are some difference between this. And maybe you know this issue when you are generating these images on a Windows machine and then running them on a macOS machine, that you get some slightly difference. And there is a similar issue with M1 and Intel chips. Not that big, but there is an issue with this. And you can see there are some issues in the GitHub repository of Flutter. And for example, also there are some issues in the Flutter framework itself when you are running some tests in the Flutter framework with an M1 machine. Some tests will fail because of this problem. And we take a look closer at this problem. So for example, there is this widget, the Flutter logo widget. With this widget, you can just integrate the Flutter logo in your app. I don't know whether you want to do this, but it's possible to integrate this in your production app. And for this widget, there is a golden test. And when I run this test on my M1 machine, you can see in the terminal it's failing. And this is a bit weird because if you look here, you see on the left the original image, on the right the M1 image. And there's slightly a very small difference. You cannot really see this, but there's a difference. And we're now going to play a game because I want to know, I want to guess how much percentage is it failing. Because the Flutter tool is saying pixel test failed with 2.5%. And I want you to guess these 3 digits. So for example, a valid answer would be like 2.51, or also a valid answer would be like 1.25. So what are your guesses? Guess these 3 digits. Just call it. Yeah, never. Just call it.
0.25.
Okay. Some other guess? Okay, I show the results, and the result is 0.00. Because like the difference is so small, that's it's just round it up to, or round it down to 0.0.0. Because like if you're looking at the file size, and it's very small difference. So on the left you can see the original image, on the right the M1 image, and it's only 3 bytes difference. So there is a difference, but it's very small. So you have to keep this in mind when you are using M1 and go and test. So, but now is the question, why should I use M1 in CI/CD? And there are some things or some advantages when you're using M1 in CI/CD. And the first thing is that it's a very good pattern to use the same architecture that your dev team is using also in CI/CD. Why? Because we just saw this, that, for example, if you're following this approach, you wouldn't get this issue that I showed you with the golden test. So keep in mind that it's a good pattern to just try to get close as you can to the same environment that the dev team is using, also for CI/CD. So you avoid some unintentional issues that we saw here. So you get a more deterministic setup that you're getting when you're having the same input, you're getting the same output every day or every time. And the second thing is speed, and I really love this because like M1s are really fast. And we take now a closer look at this. Maybe you saw this tweet by this staff Reddit software engineer that they could cut their Android build times just with the M1 MacBooks. And so this makes me wonder, okay, how does affect this Flutter or the Flutter builds specifically for iOS and macOS? And I did some tests with it. And so what did I use? I used as an app our ShareZone app because our ShareZone app is really big and it used a lot of native dependencies. So it comes more to a realistic app than just using the Flutter counter app, which is using none of the native dependencies. And I also used the CodeMagic machines to do this. So we used 3 machines, the small Intel Mac Mini Intel chip, the Intel chip Mac Pro, and the M1 machine, so 3 machines. And I did, for every parameter, I did 3 builds and calculated the average to get a very realistic picture of this. And these are the results. You can see here 3 machines, 3 colors, and especially you see that on the orange color, the M1s are really fast and the build time is very small. We're going to ignore the unit test thing because I don't know why, maybe you see that it's a bit longer on M1. I don't know what's happening, but for the build things, it's really fast. And so this is for ShareZone. And last week, I saw a lot of tweets which confirming this because there happened a thing with a CI/CD provider with CodeMagic. Because they did a thing that I want to show you, I need to make a step back to prove these numbers. So maybe you know that inflation goes up and all prices go up for every company. And there's CodeMagic that doing some weird things. For example, they are just decreasing the prices. And they changed their business model. So you as a company, when you're using CodeMagic, you are now paying less. And one thing that I did was to, because like why could they decrease the prices? Because they're using M1 now, also, and also because they did some internal changes to the software, so they don't need to pay that much software licenses. But in general, there's also an article where going deeper into this. You can read this if you're interested in this. But yeah, so they mentioned, and one thing that I did was you have these 500 free build minutes that everyone gets. And back then, you needed to use the slow Intel Mac Mini with the Intel chip to get the free build minutes. And when they changed it to M1. So everyone is getting the M1 build numbers, the M1 machines in the free build numbers. And now we see some things that happened. People started tweeting about this, and they said, "Oh my God, I reduced my build numbers, my build time from 30 minutes to 21 minutes for this guy." Or another guy tweeted that he reduced his build numbers from 57 to 8 minutes. Or also, I don't understand the language, but from 25 to 8 minutes. And also from 31 minutes to 12 minutes. Yeah, and, oh wait, I know this guy. This guy has a really cool Twitter profile. I would definitely check this out and follow him on Twitter. But yeah, I think you get a point that the builds are very fast. So maybe you're just wondering, okay, why do I need some fast builds? Because when I submit my app to the App Store or Play Store, I just need to wait 2 weeks when I got approved. Yeah, this. yeah, this. Yeah, this is a fair point, but you maybe have some other use cases where build time is nice to have a fast build time. For example, if you like pushing to the internal test or your internal channels, there you don't have this review and things like this. And there are also some other use cases that I want to mention where, for example, fast builds can be very nice. For example, integration tests. So who of you is using integration tests? Just raise your hand. We need more integration tests. It's definitely a bad thing. But yeah, because like when I added some integration tests, it was really annoying that my analyze checks and my format checks and the unit tests are passing, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. But the integration test needed 1 hour, and this was really annoying. But with fast M1 machines, they just pass in 10 minutes or something like this. And it's really cool to have some fast feedback on my change that I did and don't need to wait that much time. So this is really a nice thing, but you have to keep in mind that if you are running Android tests on an M1 in CSD, it's not possible because you can run the simulator, the Android emulator in the CSD environment. So you can just use, for the Android test, you can just use the Linux machines or the Windows machines. But yeah, the iOS test you can run. So yeah, integration tests are really nice to have them in with M1 because you get fast feedback. And there's also another use case I want to show you where fast builds are very cool. And because I had this problem that when you are opening pull request, or when someone else is opening a pull request, you as a pull request reviewer, you want to review the changes. So you can just go to GitHub and review the lines that change. This is fine. But maybe you want also to check out the feature and have it on your phone and feel the difference, search for some bugs, or feel the performance. And there was one script that I saw at another company. So I copied it and made it as a tool so everyone can use it. And what I did was like to add a tool that posting some QR codes under the pull request. So if you just open a pull request, some CodeMagic machines get triggered, and then building the app, and then you can just install it with the camera app. So you can see it here on the right. I have the iPhone, so now it's adding in. So I just scan the air code, have it on my phone, and then I can start testing it. And I really like this because like the first point is that you have some build check in your pipeline, because if something is broke with your build, you just get it on the pull request level, and so you can really ensure that your build is every time working when you are on the main branch, because you are catching all the build issues on the pull request level, and also you have an easy way to just check the feature on your phone, and especially you can just run it in the release mode, and you get a real feeling about the performance in your app with this. And here it's really nice to have quick builds because you don't want to wait 1 hour for this because someone opened the pull request and you review the changes and the build is not ready. It's really annoying. But with M1 machines, you get in 5 minutes the builds and you can just test it, and it's really cool. So yeah, I made the tool public. It's only for CodeMagic. For Bitrise, I think you can. I don't know if there's an option for this. I think you can just build it for this because like the company where I saw this was using Bitrise, so there should also be some ways to do this. But for CodeMagic, you can just use this tool. You can use it on Android, macOS, and iOS, and it's really easy to add because you just need to add these few lines in your CodeMagic file, and that's it. So it's basically the last line, and it's everything doing for you, just with some magic things in the background, and it's just then posting the comment on the pull request. And also have some monorepo support, so if you're using a monorepo, it's no problem, you can use it. And also it's updating the comment on the pull request, so you don't get spammed with notifications when you're updating the pull request. So yeah, and the second and the last point is that Apple will someday end support for Interchip. So someday you need to migrate to M1 or M2 or M3, I don't know. So yeah, you can just start today with it. And to sum up the points for M1 and CI/CD is that you should use the same environment as you use on dev machines, also in CI/CD. Speed is very nice, I like this, and Apple will focus on Apple Silicon. And yeah, just try it out. There are some CI/CD providers who are offering M1 support, for example, Bitrise and also CodeMagic. GitHub actually is not offering it yet. CircleCI is, I think, planning it for the end of the year. So yeah, just try it out with CodeMagic or Bitrise, I don't know. And yeah, that's it. If you liked it, I hope you liked it, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think we have some time for questions, right? Yeah.
Basically, because the development pipeline that we were trying on mobile was building first the Android, then the iOS. And when I tried that with the M1, always I got the error, not enough RAM.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I don't know. At that point, I just switched back to the Pro instead that we already have. So I don't know if it was because it was running both of the builds, and I should separate both builds in different pipelines. Any suggestions to that?
It should be no problem. So typically, you should just use you can just use one machine, and then should be no problem to have these checks in this. This sounds a little bit weird, so I would just if I'm you, I would just contact the try again or contact the CodeMagic support, because I have a Slack where you can just post a question and you get into maybe the same day or next day some help with this. Yeah, I think this should be working. So this should be a problem. Yeah. Yeah.
You talked about Excel differences between Intel Max and
Yeah.
Max. Do you have like any tips on how to handle this kind of stuff, or like for example, if an enterprise cannot like move all its developers to M1 Max directly, how should they do?
Yeah. So maybe also one note on this issue, and this issue is not that big as you think. So we had the same setup, generating the issues on M1 and building or running the tests on Intel machines, and we never had a problem. So in most cases, you don't have this problem. You might have this problem. And yeah, what I would do is that you can, for example, there are some packages, for example, the Golden Test toolkit from eBay, and they are automatically tagging every Golden Test with some tag. And what I would do, like, set that these persons who are just running or can't run the test locally, just skip the test when they are running them locally, and ensure that on CI/CD you have some source of truth of the test, so people who are locally don't have this issue, and they see this on the CI/CD when they have this problem. Yeah, it's a bit tricky to find a good solution for this, But I think this would be what I would do. Yeah.
You can run them in Docker containers, so that also allows analyzing.
Yeah, just for the video, there was the tip to maybe lower this threshold or just run it in Docker images. Yeah. Yeah. I think this is because the time is over. Yeah. What do you think for coming? And we enjoyed it.